Hello friends, in today's lecture we will be continuing with the last lecture where we have left about the velocity and accelerometer. So we will be continuing with the next sensor that is most probably used in measurement of acceleration, that is called as a gyroscope. So most of the time we know that whenever we want to get the direction, uh, we use a magnetic compass to find the direction, but this gyroscope is similar to that one, which will give you the direction in x, y, z motion. And whenever such kind of magnetic fields are absent, these gyroscopes will help you to find out the directions. So the geomagnetic field, when it is absent in the space specifically, and in presence of many disturbances, so gyroscope will be a useful tool or useful sensor that will be able to find out the position of the vehicle. So gyro, it means most of the time gyroscope is also called as a gyro. So it means keeper of the direction, keeper of direction. So gyro operation is based on a fundamental principle of conservation of angular momentum. So what it says that in any system of particles, the total angular momentum of a system relative to any point fixed in a space remains constant, provided no external forces acting on the system. If no external forces acting on the system, then in that case the particles total angular momentum of the system relative to any fixed point remains constant. Okay, this is what the angular moment, the principle of conservation of angular momentum says, and the same principle is used for gyro operation. Now in gyroscopes there are various types of gyroscopes are available. So first gyroscope is rotor gyroscope. So what this rotor gyroscope? It is a mechanical gyro, is comprised of a massive disc free to rotate above its spin axis. So if I consider, so this is a disc and this is the axis of spin. So let us consider that this is the axis of spin. Then it is free to rotate about the spin axis, which itself is confined within the framework, that is free to rotate about one or two axes. So it is free to move in this axis also, as well as it is free to move in this axis, and there will be one more direction where you can find the rotation of that axis. So this is the principle of that gyroscope, rotor gyroscope. So depending on the number of rotating axes, how many axes are there? Generally we will consider only 3 axes, x, y, z. So depending on the number of rotating axes, the gyros can be either of single or 2 degree of freedom type. So a degree of freedom, there may be a degree of freedom is 1, or there is a freedom of degree of 2 types. So freedom of degree you have already studied it in your physics concepts, so I need not explain it. Then there are 2 qualities of gyro account for it is useful. First one is the spin axis of a free gyroscope will remain fixed with respect to space, provided that there are no external forces acting on it. So free gyroscope, when it is in space, it is free to rotate, remain around the fixed axis, provided that there is no external force acting on it. So when the external force is acting on it, it will move around one axis only, and it is free to move around one axis only. This is what the meaning of that one. A gyro can be made to deliver a torque. A gyro can be made to deliver a torque or output signal which is proportional to the angular velocity about the axis perpendicular to spin axis. So this is the axis. Here you can see that this is the axis which is the spin axis, and here it is the torque applied to this one. So I'll consider this one as a then this axis is perpendicular to this. So the angular velocity about an axis perpendicular to spin axis. So this is the spin axis. Then angular velocity or a torque you may consider perpendicular to this or this. So if I consider this one as a torque, then I'll get an angular velocity in this direction. So this is what the gyroscope is talking about. Okay. So when a wheel or a rotor freely rotates, it tends to preserve its axial position. So it will preserve its axial position. So when it is at spinning at a fixed action, fixed axis, that is the rotation axis, then it will preserve that axial position. If the gyro platform rotates around its input axis, the gyro will develop a torque around perpendicular axis, turning the spin axis around its output axis. So we will see it with the help of diagram, and you will try to understand the concept of this one. So the this phenomenon is called as a precession of the gyro. What is that precession of the gyro? Precession of the gyro means it is fixed at one axis. You apply the torque perpendicular to that axis, then you will get a spin axis around the output axis, which is also perpendicular one to that axis, and that phenomenon is called as a precession of the gyro. So here it is, you can see that here it is the rotor, here it is the rotor. The rotor is having the axis of rotation freely, which is moving in this direction, that is the spin axis. So this is shown over here. So you can see that this axis is shown by a long and dot, a long line and dot. So this is the axis you will be getting. Now two perpendicular to that axis, there are two axes. First axis is, this is what the applied torque you are applying over here. So you are applying the torque over here, and this is the another axis where you will be getting a phenomena called as a precession. That means you will find the spin action in that axis. That means in the third axis you will find the spin action, and that phenomenon is known as precession of the gyro. So here it is the example of that one. So the rotation is fixed, and you can find that this is rotating, and here you can see that there is an action in the two axes. You will find the two moments in the two perpendicular axes, and that is the precession of the gyro. Here is another example. Here you can see that this axis is fixed. This is the spin axis. You can find it that, and the remaining two axes which are perpendicular to this one are having the rotation, or having the angular moment that you are getting. So this concept is called as a gyro concept. Okay, this concept is called as a gyro concept, and this is the rotor gyroscope. So this can be used for measurement of your directions. Okay, so this is the concept of gyroscope. So precession can be explained by Newton's law of motion for rotation. Now what it says, Newton's law of motion for rotation, the time rate of change of angular momentum about any given axis is equal to the torque applied about the given axis. So angular moment at any axis, it is equal to the torque applied to that axis. This is what the time rate of change of angular momentum explained by Newton's law of motion for rotation. So when the torque T is applied about the input axis, and the angular speed omega of the wheel is held constant, the angular moment of the rotor may be changed only by rotating the projection of the spin axis with respect to input axis. So if you change the spin axis, you can change the angular momentum, and you can change the angular momentum because omega is fixed, torque is fixed, and you simply change the rotation of the axis, the angular momentum will change, and that is the principle used in rotor gyroscope. So that is the rate of rotation of spin axis about the output axis is proportional to the applied torque. So whatever may be the torque you are applying, the rate of rotation of the spin axis about the output axis is proportional to the applied torque. So the torque T is given by I into omega into omega. So what is omega? Omega is an angular velocity, I is the inertia, and W is the angular speed we have considered. So total torque is equal to inertia into angular speed into angular velocity. That will give you the total torque applied about the gyrospin or about the spin axis. So to determine the direction of the precession, the following rule can be used. The precession is always in such a direction as to align the direction of rotation of a wheel with direction of rotation of applied torque. That means the direction of the rotation of the wheel is aligned with the direction of rotation of applied torque. So this is the principle used in precession. So magnetic gyro consists of the rotor supported by a magnetic field. If you are using the magnetic gyroscope, then in that case the rotor is supported by, that means that wheel may be consisting a magnetic field. So the system of the cryogenically cooled to temperatures where the rotor becomes superconductive. So such kind of gyroscopes will help you. An external magnetic field produces enough counter field inside the rotor that the rotor floats in a vacuum. So that is the principle used in cryogenic engines. The magnetic gyroscopes are called as cryogenic. The magnetic gyroscopes are called as cryogenic. So whenever you are using such kind of magnetic gyros, so these gyros are called as cryogenic, because it is producing a magnetic field which is enough one to counter field inside the rotor that the rotor floats in a vacuum. So the next one is the monolithic gyroscope. Okay, next one is the monolithic silicon gyroscope. Monolithic means a single stone. Monolithic, lithic means stone, mono means single. That is nothing but on a single chip you have manufactured this gyroscope. That is a single silicon chip you have manufactured this gyroscope. That's why it is called as a monolithic silicon gyroscope. So the MEMS, that is nothing but a a small sensors, mechanical sensors which are very small or of a micro type of sensors, that is called as a MEMS. So these MEMS are micro electromechanical sensors. That micro machine technology allows, MEMS means you are manufacturing the sensors in the range of micrometers. So micrometers means 10 raised to minus 6. So small sensors also you are manufacturing. So this technology allows you to design the miniature gyroscope where the rotating disc is replaced with a vibrating element. So that rotating disc, which is having certain mass, now it has been replaced by a vibrating element, and that can be manufactured very easily with the help of MEMS technology. Okay, so design takes the advantage of techniques developed in the electronic industry, is highly suited for high volume manufacturers. So if you want to develop multiple sensors at a single time in a single process itself, you can manufacture a single multiple sensors in a single process itself. So this is what the advantage of electronic system, VLSI system, that electronic industry has given the advantage over the other technologies. That's why the number of ICs or the number of devices are manufactured in a single chip itself. So that is what the advantage of electronic industry or VLSI or ULSI industry. So the same technology is used for the MEMS manufacturing, and that is used for the sensors also. So vibrating gyro is much more robust and can withstand with environment typically of many military and aerospace applications. So in military and aerospace application where the temperature is very high, where the environment you cannot take about. So if you consider the military applications, the temperature is ranging from -degree centigrade to very high degree centigrades also. So in such applications your gyroscopes should work. So for that purpose these vibrating gyros are very helpful in aerospace applications also. So whenever you are launching your satellites, in satellites also you can use such kind of gyroscopes. So all vibrating gyroscopes rely on a phenomena of Coriolis acceleration. So what this Coriolis acceleration it tells about? The Coriolis acceleration of a body appears whenever the body moves linearly in a frame of a reference which is rotating about an axis perpendicular to that linear motion. Okay. So whenever you consider a linear motion in x direction, then if you rotate that about x axis, then you will be getting the rotation in you will be getting the motion in x y direction or z direction. So that motion you will be getting, and that is the principle of Coriolis acceleration, that we can see it with the help of diagram also. So resulting acceleration, which is directly proportional to the rate of turn, occurs in third axis, which is perpendicular to the plane containing to the other two axes. So here it is. So here you will be getting the linear motion in one direction, so that is give you the velocity. Then you will be getting the angular velocity rotation in y direction. Then you will be getting the Coriolis acceleration in z direction, that is nothing but 2 into v omega. So this is what you will be getting the Coriolis acceleration. So this acceleration will be helpful for calculating, or you can understand the linear motion as well as you can understand the angular motion also. So micromachine gyro, the rotation is replaced by the vibration and the resulting acceleration can be detected and related to the rate of motion. Now this is how you can see that this single monolithic silicon gyroscope is manufactured. So you can see that this circular is a rotating scheme ring. Here you will be getting the x axis, so here you will be getting the linear motion. In this direction you will be getting your angular motion, and here you will be getting this is your that is Coriolis acceleration. So this is what you will be getting, and these are connected to the corners, 8 corners, with the help of springs, and whenever there is a vibration either in x direction, in y direction, so you will be getting the more acceleration in z direction, and you can calculate on the basis of that one in which direction you are moving. So there are several practical ways to build the vibrating gyro. So they are divided into 3 principal groups. First one is the simple oscillator, second one is the balanced oscillator, and the third one is the shell resonator. So simple oscillator, it will be using a mass on a string. So mass on a string or a beam, so that will give you the simple oscillator. The balanced oscillator means tuning forks. So you might have used it in your physics practicals. So what are those forks? So you might be remembering that one. So this is a tuning fork is there, and which is having different length, and when you put it on a bar, then it will create a vibration, and you put it on a hollow string and you will adjust it to the maximum voice. So this is the example you might have done in your physics practical. So this is nothing but a fork. So tuning fork is there. So this is a balanced oscillator you will be getting. So you will be having a maximum noise that will get generated, and you will be able to calculate the wavelength of that one. Then shell resonator is there. So wine glass or cylinder or rings are used for shell resonators. So generally the shell resonator is mostly used. So when operating in an open loop, the angular displacement of an inner gimbal about the output axis is proportional to the input rate. That is, output angle K is proportional to the inertia ration term, the drive angle phi 0, the mechanical angle Q, the mechanical factor Q, and the input rate. So don't consider about it, you just try to understand the principle of that one. Don't go into mechanical equations, otherwise it will be very difficult. You need to focus on the physics, you need to focus on your mechanical principles also. So instead of that, you just try to understand that whenever you are putting a linear motion and you give the angular motion to that, that will create an acceleration in the third axis. This is what the simple principle you can consider. So it is inversely proportional to the driving frequency omega n. So this is the angle theta you will be getting. So inertia in x direction plus inertia in y direction minus inertia in z direction divided by inertia in x direction, because you are getting in x direction. So that will give you the this angle theta, and you will be able to calculate it. The resonant comprises of 6 mm silicon ring that is supported by 8 radially compliant spokes, which are anchored with a 10 mm support frame. So we have seen that there was a support frame, 10 mm support frame was there, and there was a ring of 6 mm which is supported in a 8 direction, and you will be getting that like this. So this is what supported in 8 directions in the frame of 10 by 10 mm. 10 mm by 10 mm means if you see the 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter frame is there. So small 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter is so small. So such kind of gyroscope you can design it with the help of micro machining. So current carrying conductor are deposited and patterned onto a top of the surface only. The pads for the wire bonding are located on the outer support frame. So here is on this surface you will be calculating, you will be having a current carrying conductor deposited on this space, and on this outer shell you will be having a wire pads for a bonding, wire bonding on the outer support frame. So there are 8 identical conducting loops are there. So these are the 8 conducting loops, you can see that, and in addition to third conductor which lies between them to minimize the capacitive coupling. So whenever you are putting that, which is going to create a capacitive coupling, to avoid that there will be a third conductor also. So that will minimize the capacitive coupling. The silicon substrate is also connected in order to provide the ground plane. So silicon substrate is also connected in order to provide a ground plane, and the resonator may be excited into vibrations by any suitable transducer. So you can put a resolution resonate the oscillations on that vibration plane with the help of any transducer. So we know that the piezoelectric transducers are there which can generate such kind of resonating frequencies. So you can use such kind of transducers. The excitation may be applied to support the structure which carries the resonator, or directly to the resonator itself. So you are applying the excitation, either you are applying it to the supporting structure or you can directly apply it to the resonator itself. So the fundamental vibration mode is at 14.5 kilohertz. So the vibration you are applying, the vibration frequency is 14.5 kilohertz. So this is what the structure. You can see that here it is connected with the two strings. So when it is in C position, so there is no acceleration. When it is in C position, there is no acceleration. When the movement is like D, there is an linear acceleration in Z direction. So we have already seen that upward we have considered Z direction. Then if we consider E type of movement is there, then there is a angular acceleration about x axis, and if F type of movement is there, then there is an angular acceleration about y axis. So with this diagram you can easily find it out. So here it is C, you can see that it is exactly at the center position, so there is no acceleration. So when it move little bit upwards, so the linear acceleration is about Z axis. So you can see that there is no twist in that ring. So I can say that there is a linear motion in this direction, that is Z direction. Now you can see that there is an angular acceleration. So you can see that there is an effect like this, because our plane is like this and there is an angular displacement omega. So that angular acceleration is about x axis, and so now you can see that you can see the surface of the plate. Here you have seen the acceleration, here you have seen the cross sectional area, but here you have seen the surface of the plate. So the angular acceleration is about y axis. So this is what the direction you will be getting, x, y, z, and such kind of gyroscopes are available in the market. You can directly connect it to your control board like Arduino or Raspberry Pi, and you can get such kind of XYZ accelerations or XYZ directions with the help of gyroscopes. So you can use it in automotive devices also. You have to find out the exact position of your or the direction of your vehicle. So you can use such kind of devices in your automotive devices. So because of ring position changes with respect to its frame, it is needed to detect a particular moment of the resonator. So we need to find out the particular moment of the resonator, whether it is in Z direction, X direction or Y direction. So we need to detect it, and with the help of this position we can easily find out what kind of acceleration it is, whether it is a linear acceleration, whether it is angular acceleration in X direction or Y direction. We can easily find it out. So resonator vibration may be sensed by the transducer working electromagnetically, capacitively, optically, piezoelectrically by means of strain gauge, and in this case it is magnetically coupled. So these vibrations you can use it electromagnetically, you can capacitively also you can generate the vibrations, optically you can generate the vibration, piezoelectrically you can generate the vibrations. Here in this application we considered that it is magnetically coupled. Okay. So next is optical gyroscope. Optical gyroscope means you will be using the optical pulses to find out the direction, to find out the velocity or the acceleration. So you may find it the angular velocity. So that is called in Sagnac effect, that is the Sagnac effect. What it is? The effect is that the two beams of light are generated by laser propagate in opposite direction of the optical ring having refractive index n and radius r. So we will see the concept with the help of diagram as well as GIF also, image also. So you will understand the concept. What the principle says that you are passing the light of beam in two opposite directions. So if a ring is there, so in that ring you are passing the two beams in opposite directions to each other. With in an optical ring which is having a refractive index n and the radius r. So the radius of that ring is r and having a refractive index n. So the two beams will pass. So whenever there is no deflection is there, or there is no velocity is there, and the optical ring is at standstill, then you can see that the two beams will pass and reach to the detector in a same time. So there is no phase difference. So there is no phase difference between the two beams distance. There is no delay between the two beams arriving at the detector. That means that there is no velocity or there is no acceleration. So your detector is at same position. So here it is. You can see that this is 2r. Why it is 2r? It is the diameter of the ring. So if I consider this is as the center, then this is the r is the radius of that one. Okay, r is the radius. So you can see that clockwise direction is there and counterclockwise direction is also there. So the two beams are passing, or the two lights are passing through this ring, and they will cross each other and they will reach at one particular place. So that distance you can calculate, and that will help you to find out the direction as well as the acceleration. So this principle is used in a gyroscope, and that is called as the Sagnac effect. So the one beam goes in clockwise direction and other beam goes in counterclockwise direction. So the amount of time it takes to travel within the ring t is given by 2 pi r divided by nc, where c is the light of the speed of the light. So n is the refractive index, r is the radius. So t is equal to 2 pi r divided by nc. This is what the time required to travel the entire ring. Okay. Now what will happen? So if we rotate that ring with an angular rate omega in a clockwise direction, that means this is a ring and we move it in this direction with a speed of omega. Okay. So what will happen now? Now in that case the light will travel different path at two directions. The different path at two direction, one is clockwise direction and other is anti-clockwise direction. So the clockwise direction, the time taken will be 2 pi r plus omega into r into delta t is the traveled distance, and the in clockwise counterclockwise beam, the travel will be 2 pi r minus omega into r into delta t. So this is what you will be getting, the beam traveling in clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. So the path traveled in clockwise direction is given by 2 pi r plus omega r into delta t, and in counterclockwise or anti-clockwise 2 pi r minus omega into r into delta t. So hence the difference between the path is delta L, that is the length will change, that delta L is given by 4 pi omega r square divided by nc. So that difference is proportional to omega, because r is constant, pi is constant, n is constant, c is constant. So you can easily find out delta is proportional to the angular velocity omega. So to accurately measure omega, technique must be developed to determine delta L. So there are three types of techniques for a path detection. First one is the optical resonator, second one is the open loop interferometers, and the third one is a closed loop interferometers. So these are the three techniques with which we can measure this delta L accurately. So the for ring gyro, the measurement of L, that is the length, are made by taking the advantage of lasing characteristics of a optical cavity. That means the laser is having the coherent ability to produce a coherent light. So that is the optical cavity characteristics is there. So we will take the advantage of that and we will design the system accordingly. So for lasing to occur in a closed loop cavity, so if you consider the optical loop cavity, it must be integral number of a wavelength about the complete ring. So we will be using a closed loop path for this application, and this will be helpful in calculating the measurement of L. So the light beam which do not satisfy this condition, that means it should be a multiple number of or integral number of wavelength there themselves. The light beam which do not satisfy this condition, this condition means integral number of wavelength, the interfere with themselves as they subsequently travel the optical path. So they will interfere with each other. So if you don't want to interfere with each other, so it should be integral multiple of wavelength. So that is why the principle is used. So in order to compensate for a change of perimeter due to rotation, the wavelength lambda and the frequency V of the light must change. So either you have to change the lambda or either you have to change the frequency. So minus dV by V is equal to d lambda by lambda is equal to dl by L. So either you have to change the wave frequency or you have to change the frequency of the light. Okay, frequency of the either you have to change the wavelength or either you have to change the frequency. So that is you can calculate the length of that one. So in a ring laser rotates at an angular omega, light waves stretch in one direction and compresses in other directions to meet the criteria for the lasing of an integral number of wavelength about the ring. So when you move it with an angle omega or with a speed of omega, then the light will get stretched in one direction and it will get compressed in another direction. So you can see the concept with the help of diagram in next few slides. You can easily understand the concept. So in turn it will result in a net frequency difference between the light beams, because one light get compressed and other light gets expanded, so or stretched. So that is going to change the frequency difference between the light beams. And if the two light beams are bit together, mixed, the different resulting signal has the frequency with an area A enclosed in a ring. So that will be calculated, F is equal to 4A into omega divided by lambda into N into L. So this is what you will be getting the equation. So in practice, the optical gyros are designed with either fiber ring resonator or fiber coil, where the ring has many turns of optical fiber. So you can see in next diagrams. So either there will be a resonating ring or there will be many number of turns of optical ring coils are there. So you can find it out. So the fiber optic resonator consists of the fiber loop formed by the fiber beam splitter. So you can see it with the help of the diagram. So here you can see that. So this is a single resonator is there. So fiber ring resonator is there. So you are passing the rim, and here you will be the light detector will be there. And when you move it, you will find that the light beam is get stretched at one angle and it get compressed at other angle. So the splitter will be there, and so when the incoming beam is at resonating frequency of the fiber ring, the light couples into the fiber cavity and the intensity in the exiting light drops. So what will happen when the incoming beam is at resonating frequency of the fiber ring, the light couples into fiber cavity. So it will get coupled into fiber cavity, and the intensity in the exiting light, that means if it is coming over here, so because of that the cavity is there, and here the exiting light, that light intensity gets dropped. So it depends upon the resonating frequency. So the principles are used like this one only. So the next diagram is very clear. So the coil fiber gyro, which consists a light source and the detector is coupled to the fiber. So here you can see that here it is the light is there, here it is the polarizing is there, then the phase modulator is there, the many turns are there. So you can get a clockwise and anti-clockwise directions are you will be getting, and here it is a phase fiber coupler is there. So whenever there is a fiber coupler is there, the intensity is going to change, and here it is again a fiber coupler is there. So whatever may be the receiving light is there, that receiving light is detected at this end, and that intensity is different depending on the angular moment. So the next diagram you can easily understand the concept related to that one. So the light polarizer is positioned between the detector and the second coupler to ensure that both the counter propagating beams transverse the same path in the fiber optic coil. So what is the purpose of this light polarizer? Its purpose is to ensure that both the counter propagating beams transverse the same path in the fiber optic coil. The two beam mix and impinge into detector, which monitors the co-sinusoidal intensity changes caused by rotationally induced phase change between the beams. So you can see the principle in the next diagram. So typically the optical gyro provides a small low cost, very small size, rotation sensitive sensor with a dynamic range up to 10,000. So the sensitivity is very high, it is low cost and a small size. So optical gyroscope provides you these advantages. So application includes yaw and pitch measurements, then attitude stabilization and gyro compassing. You will be using such optical gyroscopes in these applications. So the major advantage of the optical gyroscope is its ability to operate under hostile environments. So here it is, the example is that, so beam is passing, here you can see that the laser beam is passed, the coupler will split it, the splitter will split the beam and it will move it, and whenever there is an angular displacement is there, so that angular displacement will give you the stretched path at one. You can see that now red and blue are passing it and it is reaching to the detector in the same direction. Now it is moved, so you can see that the red is compressed one and the clockwise and anti-clockwise directions are changed, and the two beams are reaching the detectors whenever there is an angular displacement. Now you can see that the red is reaching first and blue is reaching afterwards. So this is what the optical gyroscope works. This is the principle used in optical gyroscope. So this is the simplest diagram where you can easily understand the principle of this optical gyroscope. I hope it is very clear to you how the optical gyroscope works. If you have any query, you can put the question in YouTube, you can ask on YouTube, and you can give me the queries. I'll answer your queries accordingly. Thank you very much. And with that, we came to the end of the velocity and acceleration sensors. So there are many sensors available in the market. You can go through, you can search the literature through various websites which are giving you the information related to that. You can visit the websites, you can visit the various books, you can visit the various concepts related to this. So when you put it on Google or any website, you can easily find out the information related to the velocity and acceleration. So here we stop. I hope you have understood it. So thank you very much.